Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Inside the Booth, another episode of Inside the Booth with DeVoren and I guess me, the guest speaker, Danny Kyerling. DeVoren,
Yes, sir.
he wanted to ask me some questions about my wreck, and we didn't know really where to start. And he's been following me, so I figured I'd come in here and give you a little story about me. I did start out, like I said, a long time ago in a vessel shop, and I was running that. You're running inner shield today. It reminds me of back when I started out. I ran dual shield. You know what that is?
Yes.
You add the gas. It's a different wire, but you're still running an inner shielding gas or inner shielding flux.
Is it still 75, 25?
And then you run well, sometimes you can run CO2 on it too.
It's still, okay, I see.
Depends on the wire,
Okay, but it's not out.
Yep. And when I started out, that's what I started out with too. So it's kind of cool that you're doing it too.
I mean, I enjoy it. So what brought you there? What brought you into it? Like, what made that spark?
Yeah, so like I said, when I first started welding, I seen that very first welder, and I seen he's dressed up real nice, and he looked happy. You know what I mean? Like, and there's an energy about it. And I believe that there's energy in people, right? And I seen it. I didn't know what he did or what exactly a welder was when I was that age. I had an idea, but I didn't know. And I seen him, and just that power of him just freaking took over the room, and I was like, I want to be like that guy. My dad told me he was a welder, and it grew from there. And I just kind of had that just spark something inside of me. And the one thing that I've always said, I'll tell you guys out there too, I love welding for one thing. One of the biggest things I love about welding is it's like art. I actually was artsy back in the day. I used to be really into art, right? So I love it because you can make the same quality weld as him, Danny, Jason Sasaki, anybody out there, and you can weave it this way. You can go fast, up and down, side to side, and it's your artwork.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that's the main reason I love welding is it's you. It's your masterpiece. Put your stencil on it. It's your name. And it's going to be there for hundreds of years, possibly. So it's your piece of art that, you put your stamp on. That's why I do love it. I guess
That was one of my things about letting my kids drive by. And I was like, I helped do that. Well, I built that by yourself, no, but me and the team, we from the ground up.
Yep, and
that brought us into pride.
Awesome. And that's funny you say that. My daughter was just telling me. I live in Wyoming, and we live about a mile from an oil well, and I worked on it when I was a kid, and I told my daughter the same story, and she said when she grows up, she wants to work on the tanks too, she says. And, maybe she won't, but that makes, more of a way a guy's
But still, though, yeah, totally bring. My daughter wrote me a card.
Oh, really?
Just for saying, thank you for trying so hard.
That's awesome.
And it was so, and she was like, you want me to be a welder? Now, mind you, she has a thing for John Tompkins to go be on research already.
There you go.
Yeah. So for her to say that, I was like, you would be more of my son than your brother.
You're her hero.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and that was pretty cool. So, myself, I've had a couple of jobs. I was certified,
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in 15. Didn't get to recertify. Didn't know you had to recertify. So that went out the window.
Yeah.
I started off with I had a cousin who worked for Arkansas Oklahoma Gas, and my best friend since we were in high school, Watson class, which was half a day.
Yeah.
There, going to college and do it.
Yep.
Well, we ended up excelling in it, putting up our addition to one of our regional hospitals in Sparks. Then he started customizing products. And we used
really?
Yeah, he does the airbags. He does the airbags and the suspension and the big brake. My name's Chris Shepard, man. I love the life.
Yeah, that is cool.
So his family opened me to a lot of stuff that I was with myself.
Dude, that is another amazing thing. You got welding. You can weld on a ship. You can weld on a barge. You can weld on sheet metal, pop cans, art, pipeline, anything you want. It's everywhere, and it's you're not going to fix America from the outside in by hiring other people. You got to fix it by you and me.
Hey, that's one thing they said out when I was in the field at first. We built America.
Yeah, and that we're going to keep America doing awesome things. We got to do it.
So. It's only right. You can outsource some stuff to make more efficient. But again, it's still, I think it balances out, but the quality is a little bit better when it comes to size.
Yep.
And I believe that not only saying that cause any offense to anybody, but I mean,
Home comes first.
good. Everybody else supports their own.
Yeah.
Theirs, and so I put it where it comes from.
Yeah. Yep.
So, what made you start the brand?
Yeah, so I got injured 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, UTV accident. I got paralyzed from the chest down. I wasn't even supposed to be able to move my arms like I do, and now I do. So I always thought it was a cool idea that, I had kind of the following, and then I was like, man, how am I going to support my family? What am I going to do now that my hands don't work? How am I going to weld? It's all I knew. That's all I was good at, like for real. I'm not really that intelligent, not really like funny or good looking, right? So I was like, I gotta, maybe sell the beard. And so that's what I just, and I really like to, that story about believing. I have another part of the story that I was, when I was freaking in that hospital, they were doing surgery on me in the ICU, and I'm religious. I don't like to offend anybody, but I heard some voices, and I swear it was my best friend. My best friend was driving the Can-Am when it got wrecked, and I swear his wife was whispering in my ear, just believe, stem cells will fix you. He kept telling me that night. I woke up and my arms worked and everything, and I showed the doctor. I was like, look, my arms work, you know what I mean? You said they weren't gonna, but they do. She's like, I'm proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And I asked my friend's wife, I was like, what's up with this stem cell? What are you talking about? She's like, I didn't talk to you. She's like, I didn't say a word to you. And I was like, couldn't figure out who was talking to me. I think I know who it was. But anyway, I believe in myself, and even my little pinky, look at it, right? It ain't much, but it's a lot more. And even if you don't got it, believing in it's just enough. Yeah. Gotta have faith, dude.
Faith for you, faith for you. And I read that before. I might rate number 1 or 2 in my book that I like. And then we have Victor Glory, okay? And his son was born without ears being open. And he believed so hard and had faith so much that they weren't going to allow him to be labeled as a handicap or what you call it,
disabled person, or a mute person, or
I'm going to give it to you.
charity case. Yeah.
And he refused to that. He was one of the first people to receive a hearing instrument and everything, and it kind of worked. But then the dad kept repeating back here slowly, daily, that he's all that he's going to come out of. And so, in that long story short, with his persistent faith, and I believe it's finite decision, or basically you're obsessed with the thoughts. Yeah, it's kind of obsession. Yeah, anytime you turn into like a millionaire, you started riding bikes, passing out papers, and you get to do it, and then later on it was able to help develop the first field. Oh yeah. And now that's how it works. Because I know there's so much faith. You gotta have faith. Yeah, they'll do it. And that's my main thing about a lot of people might not believe it or what you're doing, because that's all right. Yeah, it's all right. It's totally. It's okay. I failed before too. There you go. I was about to say it's okay to fail, but what negates that is trying.
Yep.
As long as you try, as long as you know that.
Yeah, and with failure comes success because you learn. You know what I mean? It's like, like I told you, I think I told you this earlier today or yesterday. Like, it's better to fail in here than to fail out on the job. So. Yeah.
I was upset because I had to redo a process until I did a whole week. Yeah. So I felt like I was upset. Yeah. So
better than tossing you a job later, though. And here is where you want to fail, not out there.
Most of the time,
and you're going to hate that instructor for making you do it. I've been there. and you're going to be like, you're going to cuss him, you're going to swear at him. But here in about 2 years, when you're out there and you know what you did wrong on a project, you're going to thank him one day. I'm like, that's how it goes, you know. So,
And that's right. I mean, the lucky that we have. I know, like I said,
yeah, that's good. Oh yeah,
most money down for both the most down to earth, essential. And they do the
yeah, genuine, authentic. Another thing with your videos, if you can be authentic, you're going to be successful. You know? That's why it's just like talk a little shit, you know, just freaking hang out, and then you know that's
one while doing.
I'll bet $1 right now you go fire up on that pedal, you'll make the prettiest weld you ever had today.
I probably would. I would make it up. You know, they don't know about those, but you can make a bee look like a rainbow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, I've seen some pretty down to folks.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I just wanted to know, like, like,
today
and took the pictures, and I was like, I asked our instructor Jones. I was like, the same job? He was like, yeah. He was like, he's not just good. Because you're on his time. It's a business. That's business to like give a helpful insight. But I was like, I have to get work.
Yep, so that logo actually, you guys can see it right here, guys, right there. You see that's basically Danny Keiderling. And my buddy Adam with BW Parts, you heard at BW Parts. So he, long time ago when I was in Colorado, I was in the ICU when I got injured. He came up and visited me. I didn't know him ever. And he, my buddy actually introduced me to him, and I never met him. And it's a longer story. Long story short, they both surprised me, and I never met them before in my life. And they did it out of the goodness of their heart. They designed my first hat, and that was my first logo. Was that? And then in the hospital they gave me my very first hat. And so that's kind of how it kind of all started. They just did it, I could sell it to people or whatever. And they're like, well, we want to help you long term, we want it. So that was my long term goal from now on is to build that brand, So that was from BW Parts. Adam, his name is Adam with BW Parts. He's a pipeline legit, super good dude. And his buddy Victor made that. And we're going to, don't tell him, but we're going to make Bill one too. I'm going to get with him and stuff. So he's a fire from very, very good designer down there in Arizona. All our shit, super good dude. So I'm going to make, Joe said he wants one. So I'm going to get him some more cut out of metal. But I'm going to make it just a little bit littler than mine so we can put it next to mine.
Yeah. And he said that his plan is to do, when he was talking about it, he's like, it's not Dutch anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not really comfortable, but I'm comfortable in other ways. So I said, let me try. And I came up with over 20 different logos. But they all incorporate the original feel from the bottom for the all say.
Did you design them or how did you do that?
I wrote it down and my daughter started drawing them up. And then she got to like a program where she can make a comic or realistic or art deco or whatever. I was like, so we just put it like the community. We put the principal for that and the belief. And so we'll do our family with those and the double crown order. And our slogan is sowing bees, reaping rooted roots. Stay rooted or get rooted, stay rooted. And so this also we got incorporate high in the field out of the roots of the tree. And then like infrastructure. And all that. I'll tell you that. That's pretty cool. And I got stickers already. I did a good time tip. I want to come up with a new material that doesn't let up your body. Something like the 555. not as hot. So, I mean, somebody's out there with that. So, there's something in there. And that's where I'm at with that. Of course, it goes into helping our youth and formerly incarcerated or distress victims that may not have the option. And so, that's why I try to want to do really from this because my daughter's original company was called Still Manifestation, Still Creation. And everybody thought it was all prayer or steel, right? And that's all steel thought from your high power. So it all works in together. So everything's separate. Yeah, it's good. And so I want y'all to know one of the best hints I could ever have doing this, which is a groove well.
That looks mighty fine.
And it was my first pass, so and I was nervous. And I passed that one. I just really well out the road though. Well, my talk about that one. And so my second one is up here, and it's better, but it works. But it gave me a great tip. Don't get too close with your contact point because it's going to be distracted. Push that stuff down. And just come out about 3/4 of the inch. Not about that easy comes down.
Yeah, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. The longer, the better. Everyone thinks you need it closer. 3/4 of an inch is where I always liked it. Then you can see it, and then that flux. That flux is super important when it's coming out of that nozzle. It heats up, so that when you're 3/4 inch, that flux inside of there warms up, and it burns better, and then you get that better gas coverage. Which keeps the frosting and everything else. So, yeah, it looks good, dude. Good job.
I'm going to appreciate it. He is a good man. I did ask him to sit down with you real quick and give y'all some insight. I greatly appreciate y'all tuning in. This is DHK. His name is Danny. Y'all look him up, follow him. The brand, as you see, he has it advertised. And if you want to support us all at American Laboratories, or American Welding Laboratories, I'm sorry. DHK. What's the prize? What's that? Your partner? Oh, we don't have one. Oh. Well, I'll give y'all this fun fact. He helped inspire him to continue his brand to go forth after his accident. And basically, now they're just traveling around.
I'm sorry, Adam with BW Parts. I'm sorry.
Yep. Well, there we go. It's Adam with the BW Parts.
The BW Parts helped me start the brand. Yeah, he's one that basically inspired me for it. Yeah. My bad, bro.
No problem. But there you go. Just as he was inspired by a gentleman, I was as well. But just planting a seed, you never know how far it can flourish, cultivate, grow, however it may be. But there's always room to grow, room to learn, and room to find yourself in anything you do. Just love it, and you'll be all right. And I want to thank you for sitting down with me and giving me some of your time while we're here. I know it don't matter. I got you. And we'll get one. Boom. And y'all really follow. Y'all check out their work, the purse, the brand, the clothing, all the accessories. They're there. And if you guys want to hit up American Laboratories or my page, if you want me to come to your school or any other school or whatever, be your teacher to hit me up, message me on my pages, or even hit up, BW Parts, DHKWelds.com. Get it in there. Get with me. I'll come to you if I can, guys. So I want to do more of that. That's one thing that my goal is next year is to hit it hard. So this is life changing. I couldn't live without welding. But you know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna do anything this year because I just trying to enjoy life a little more this year and then hit it hard. But I'm so happy that Danny invited me. I wasn't gonna reach out to anybody and he asked me, and I didn't even have to say. I said, I'll see you there. I said I gotta check one thing to see if I have my daughter with me or not. And I said that I'll be there. And I'm here. So I'm not always happy, man. I'm glad you came. I'm so glad because I couldn't put the face to it. I more so thought he was a joke man. Duck Dynasty. Oh yeah. I thought that was the uncle of a Duck Dynasty. Yeah, sorry or whatever. So I didn't know, and I was like, yeah. So he's a heck of a baseball player. That was he? Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. And so there's a guy right there.
Hello, DJ. I call him AKA the muscle.
Let's see him, baby. Let's see his arm there, buddy. Oh my God. Nothing else. Are you guys like a podcast or something? Yeah, we're just like talking. Just a little talking. Are you ready to go catfish or what are we doing now? I want to go get catfish, brother. I like you that good catfish. Don't go to Jerry. They're okay. They're okay. You can go over there on Grand Avenue and go to Sam Peter.
What's the best in this area?
They're better than that. To be honest with you, I'd tell you somebody's mom. but Sam's Eatery, I wouldn't go with this through. Yep, right on Grand Avenue. Right for the downtown. I mean, for the fish. And I have a sushi family. My mom used to say that.
I want you to end the video with my saying though.
Okay.
You know what it is? No, you got to give it to us. We'll see how it ends well. Just start saying something.
I got you. Well, that was Danny with DHK. I'm the one. The Black George with the Welded Roots. And we'll see you on the next well. Peace.
Hey, I gave you the picture, right? See you on the next well.
Somewhere, if I want to. Oh, yeah. Well, I think we got the mind clear. Oh, yeah. Did everything perfect? Clear it. You know what that is? Oh, okay. This is what they always be comfortable. Did everything perfect? Clear it. Right, drop it. Right, I'm about to switch it out. And then if not, I'm going to throw that motherfucker on the ground and go smoke some weed.